In my mind's eye, the whole week is like this vermilion red, this laser searing red. You cannot take your eyes off of what has actually happened. You can't believe this is your life, that you are that family who's lost a kid. A phrase we often use in describing Katie was, she was all in all the time. From our earliest memories of her being able to hold a crayon had told us she wants to be an artist when she grows up. When Katie was working on a piece of art, even if it was just with a pencil and a blank piece of paper, there was an intensity in her eyes. Her art was her primary worship form. It was how she connected with God. She was a creative in the truest sense of the word. Katie was so full of life, and it was almost as if she packed a lifetime worth of living into 19 years, and it gave her days an intensity. It was a beautiful May day. We were having a big party at our house.
And so I'm walking to the kitchen as she was leaving to go out to her job. And so she's walking across the hallway, and she goes, "Hello, Father that I love." And then she grabs my hand as she walks by me, puts it on her head, twirls, and then keeps going. That would be kind of classic Katie.
And I almost didn't pick it up because we had company still, but I picked it up. And, it was the phone call of every parent's worst nightmare. It was a hospital. When we got there, they brought us into the trauma room, and Katie was laid out on a gurney. And there wasn't a mark on her. But on her way to work, there had been a tremendous car crash. 6 hours later, they declared her brain dead. And that was the worst day of our lives. And it wasn't until the next day that we learned that a witness had seen Katie passed out over the wheel before the accident, which confirmed, yes, she had had this aneurysm that had ruptured and had filled her brain with blood and knocked her out. And that's why her car swerved and she was hit. I couldn't get any cell reception inside this brick hospital, so I went outside, and all of a sudden, I just had this undeniable sense of peace and of God's presence. I just had this sense of God saying to me, I didn't hear it audibly, but there was just this sense of him whispering to me, I am good. This circumstance doesn't change my character. It doesn't change who I am. I am good. And I thought to myself, how can this be true given our circumstances? Is he good when things go as horribly wrong as you can imagine?
So someone has asked me recently, after a loss, please tell me it's not going to be this way forever. Please tell me it's not going to be this way. How do you get over this? I would say I've got good news and bad news. The good news is you won't always feel this way. That gradually the intolerable ache softens. The bad news is that you never get over this. I've learned to get on with it, but the loss of my daughter is always this far beneath the surface.
One of my favorite paintings, it's a watercolor of a tree, and she painted it a couple months before she died. This tree shows this gnarled tree trunk, and then you look at the life that is bursting forth, all these green leaves that are coming out of this weather-beaten trunk. But when I look at the leaves in that painting, I'm reminded this is the life to the full that Jesus talks about in John 10:10. And one of the things that slowly brought me to a place of peace was that I could not stinking deny God's goodness. He just continually and relentlessly showed up in our story, almost always through the thumbprints of people. You know, to me, that is what the tenderness of God looks like. When people don't forget your kid, when they don't forget your sorrow, it just marks you, and you realize it's not just about the one friend. It's about God showing up for you and walking with you in the hardest of times. And the vision he had for his church to be a community that did life together was the right vision, you know. I'm standing here almost 8 years later, and I can promise you he was telling me the truth. He is good in those circumstances, which did turn out as horribly as I could imagine. Didn't change his character. He is relentlessly good. It is well with our soul.